So now we're going to talk about lines, leaders, and tippet for fishing in Alaska. As far as your lines go, I usually like to keep it pretty simple. We talked about rods already, but as far as the lines, about 90% of the fishing scenarios up there can be fished super effectively with a weight forward floating freshwater line to match the rod weight. Tons of different great line manufacturers out there. I've been fishing SA lines for a long time, so I like the SA Amplitude Smooths just to match the weight of the rod. So for your trout fishing, a 6 or a 7 weight weight forward floating freshwater line. For the salmon rod, for the 8 weight, I would kind of recommend the same thing. So just a weight forward floating 8 weight freshwater line. If you do have a light sink tip or sinking line, something in the 200 to 300 grain window, it's nice to have. It's not absolutely necessary, but if you're going to be fishing a lot of streamers or want to get down a little bit farther in the water column, it's kind of nice to have. So if you have one, great, bring it along, but if not, don't worry about it. As far as the leaders go for Alaska, this is another thing that I don't like to overcomplicate. Super kind of easy and cut and dry. From a trout fishing perspective, if you do want to fish tapered leaders, that's totally fine. I would recommend like a 7.5 foot tapered leader, either 0, 1, or 2X. You don't need to go anything lighter than 2X if you're going to be fishing tapered leaders. I typically like to keep them nice and short too, so 7.5 is great, and then you can build from there if you need to. For your tippet spools, if you're going to be fishing tapered leaders, I would bring spools of 0, 1, 2, and 3X and call it good. So you don't need to go anything lighter than 3X for the trout fishing up there. A lot of the times, a lot of guides up there will actually build their own leaders, which is great. It's super easy, real cheap to do. And kind of the material up there that reigns supreme would definitely be Maxima Ultra Green. This is amazing. Any guide you see up there will definitely have spools of Maxima Ultra Green on them. This is kind of the universal standard for leaders and tippets up in Alaska. If you do want to bring your own leader material or Maxima Ultra Green, I would recommend spools in 25, 20, 15, maybe 12, and then you can kind of call it good there. You don't really need to go anything lighter than that, but if you do want to bring your own spools, build your own leaders, it's a great way to do it. You can adjust the length however you want, but a lot of anglers and guides up there will choose to fish Maxima Ultra Green. Another good leader material or material to have is knottable wire, especially if you are fishing for pike. Super sharp teeth, and they will shred a regular leader or tippet. So having a spool of knottable wire is always a good idea, especially if you're going to be in an area where you're going to be fishing for pike. I think this is 30 pound, so anything 30 to 60 pound works great. You can just have a section of 12 to 18 inches of kind of bite tippet on the end of your leader, and your pike line or your pike fly directly to the knottable wire. Again, as a reminder, most lodges and outfitters up there do include all terminal tackle, so all leaders, tippets, wire material. So don't feel like you need to bring it along with you if you don't want to. But if you do want to have some of your own, if you're fishing on your own or your guide's away from you, it's always kind of nice to have. So I always recommend at least bringing a little bit along with you. Find out more about fishing in Alaska at yellowdogflyfishing.com.